Let's
All
deep
right,
dive,
so
brother.
yeah,
CBC,
let's get it,
everybody
man.
hears CBC all morning, and I know a lot of people are still confused. They don't know what the heck's
Yeah,
going on,
here,
and
let
I
me
know I
get
used to
the
trade it a lot in the
link
past
sent
too.
out. I'll share it to the Discord real quick.
Yeah, get it to the
I
Discord.
I learn better when I can actually see my teachers. So
This
I can't.
specifically is like
Yeah,
way better on screen, especially CBC, because like we've explained it in spaces multiple times, but
I
to
need
be able to
Maple to turn
see
his
it
camera on.
visually, yeah, it's just so much better. Oh well, Maple,
I gotta
do a
get
little
one done.
face reveal one day.
Let's
We'll get there. We'll
see.
get there. No, but take the floor, Mapes.
All
Feel
right,
free to
sweet.
deep
So there, I
dive,
just
bro.
had to send that out to the Discord. Okay,
You're
so
good.
we got 10-minute CBC here on the left and a 3-minute chart on the right. So I'll go to my doodles tab and we'll clear this out. Okay, so I'll just do a quick recap, kind of an understanding what is candle by candle method. I like to focus on these bearish and bullish golfing in candles right here. You can see that they're highlighted. Once a candle closes beneath a previous candle low or closes above the previous candle high, right? That's a bullish engulfing or a bearish engulfing. That triggers a CBC flip. And I use this each and every single day to give me, intraday sentiment on each of these legs. All right. So we traded gold this morning. I can show you past, experiences and trades, but we'll show you what happened and how I traded and navigated through the market this morning. Okay. So watching gold here, this is slash GC. You can see 10-minute CBC flips. Now excuse me. I'm of course asleep at this time, but just monitoring how price is respecting these certain key levels, and if it's moving, in a choppy form, like seeing a lot of, flip triggers here, or if we're getting some good continuation, right, 10, 20 points or so. And I can see prior to me logging on about 8:30, we got pretty good price action, the overnight Globex session. So when trading candle by candle method, typically when I see the CBC flip, I like to trail my stop loss. I use a mental stop. Otherwise, you'll get wicked out. But a mental stop loss trailing each previous candle low, as long as price does not close beneath the previous candle low, right? So just kind of, trailing our stop loss along the way. And if this, then that kind of logical perspective on trading rather than, trying to achieve, I don't know, maximum efficiency through tight forms of risk, right? Like some traders on gold will get stopped out on 1 or 2 points, and I think that's way too tight rather than maybe sizing down and allowing the thesis to play out. So you can see here CBC flips bullish, and from the following candle low, price carries from 41.8 to the high there, right? That's 22 points. I'm not saying that you should get the absolute bottom and know the top, but I am saying that you can get at least half of that, right? And 11 points on gold is about $1,100 on one mini. Okay. So moving forward with this, right, you can see that you get another signal fired right there. 10-minute CBC flips short. Now, when the CBC flips, this tells me, now it's not a onset bias because I do have these checks and balances alongside candle by candle method using our EMAs and pivots. But when trading CBC and it flips in a certain direction, this tells me that I have higher probability of continuation on that given direction. So if CBC flips short, I should be trading a short. And when it flips long, I should be trading to the upside. Now, of course, we'll go over how to navigate through these flips here when it gets a little slow and choppy. But once 10-minute CBC flips short, there's two perspectives. Now, if you're a trader that can only monitor one chart at a time, one time frame, that's all you can handle, or that's just how you trade. I prefer to watch candle by candle method on the 10-minute most days, but 10-minute CBC flips, and I like to short when the candle is green. You guys will hear me on spaces many times, hey, 10 minutes green, good short opportunity, or 10 minutes red for a good long opportunity. So when and if you guys don't know this, if you're newer to trading or you're just starting out, beginning, once the candle pushes over the open, right, that candle's green, correct? So on the 10-minute, as the market is developing live, I mean, just like it is so, right, there's a red candle pullback. and CBC is bullish.
This is how you get those prime entries, right, Mapes?
Yeah, right here. I mean, because a lot of
taking
traders
things on the
chase them.
opposite of what.
Yeah, a
you're
lot of
trying to
traders
trade.
will chase that exactly, right? And I'll show you exactly why you shouldn't. I went over this warm up in pre-market. But so when the candle, hold on, my bad, is pushing up and it's green like so, that's where I'm looking to take my entry, risking a close above the previous candle high, right? So you can see price does not close above that previous candle high and it wicks back down. So a trader, if they're shorting green on 10, and I'm not saying the absolute, entirety of this move, but let's say, hey, 10 minutes surpasses and the candle closes, right? That's 8 points. That's $800 on one mini or 400 on 5 micros in a very short period of time, right? So these are consistent gains that you can take using, setups that will instill confidence in your trading. And let's say, hey, you missed this, right? I'm showing you examples after the CBC flips, but as price progresses, let's say, hey, it's 10 a.m., right? I mean, where were my trades at this morning?
You can still use those EMAs as confluence while CBC's
still
holding bearish, right?
So that was one perspective, right? Just looking at the 10-minute. So I like to use my 3-minute EMAs as well. So I've highlighted here the 10-minute candle by candle method flip. So I'm going to move it to a 3-minute chart. And this is where I find my checks and balances, right? This is where it really gets interesting because I'll start eating off of these EMAs. But 10-minute flips, right? And if it's a high probability setup, I'll have my lower time frame EMAs. I used to use the 2. I use the 3 a lot more now, just buying the stops from the 2, right? But 10-minute candle by candle method flips. And if your EMAs are also bearish, right, meaning your 9 is below your 20, right? This is a sentiment shift, right? You're just watching it on a lower time frame, right? This is your urgency time frame, I like to call it. This is where traders or larger participants of the market, algorithms will begin to take orders off of these tight hugging EMAs on your 3-minute. So after the 10-minute flips, ideally, now this is the same as the 10-minute perspective, but it's good to have confluence, right? So we'll put this on a 10. And your right side's on a 3. Okay, so 10-minute flips. Okay, now all I'm going to do is put an arrow on each time price interacts with the 3-minute 9. Okay. And I guess that's an interaction too. And what do you get there, right? You're seeing these same entries on your 3-minute EMA pullback line up on your 10-minute when the candle is green. Right,
it's beautiful.
You see that upper wick? That's really difficult.
What I love about this too is it all falls in line with your time frame, right? It's like, okay, we start on this bigger time frame, and then you go to find your confluences on the lower time frame, and it just goes to show that, like, no matter the strategy, that's what you should be doing. Like, I'm doing that. I see Casey doing that. I see all of our best traders doing that.
Oh, 100%.
No matter what we're trading strategy is, you know what I mean? And that's just, it's a beautiful thing to see this.
There has to be a complete understanding of what you're doing. I mean, you're risking money each day. And it not only goes, tying in with finances, but also, your mental capital, right? How confident are you each morning? So, yes, I'll go over, those are key alert or key entries and blah, blah, blah. But, where I actually entered, and I can plot them here, right? This morning, I took one loss this morning, MGC long 859, right? And I'm just going to highlight them. So 859, that's going to be right here, right? Chasing a little bit. Next one, 934, I took it short. And that was at 48. Right there, candle green. Okay, I took another short here, 950. That's at 38. I remember that one. Right there, when the candle is green. And took another short at 1032. This one wasn't exactly a green candle short, but the previous candle was green, right? And this one was right here. 1 second, right there, and I think that's it, right? Yeah. So looking at those entries, right, where I took the short or the long, right? Why did I take the long right there? I think for me, just looking for VWAP, right, a predictive form of price action. Hey, CBC's holding. Why, you cleared the 20 EMA on 10. Why wouldn't it clear VWAP, right? That predictive form of price action is probably the #1 reason why I ever take a loss. But as long as you're able to, again, reel it in, focus on your system, adhere to your rules, be, disciplined, right? Look at my entries, green candle, green candle. This was when the candle's red, but it's still within this green candle on 10-minute, and it provided 20 points. It's also a, 3-minute 20 EMA interaction. So back test this, right? Like, this is no good to any of you unless you back test it, see if you like it. You don't have to use CBC. You can just use 3-minute EMAs. We can go through other examples as well.
Well, too, Mapes, talk to me a little bit about the exits as well, because I know a lot of the time you're taking 100%. That 20-point exit, you're taking the 30 points. I see Brent in the chat. He's saying, my exit rule is after we flip when the 2-minute closes twice over 9 EMA, I have to close the trade. Talk to me a little bit more about that.
For sure. So here, we'll go back just to today's price action. So for me, right here, this entry, first short of the day, right there. Where did I take profit at? 8 points. Right? I don't know why I chose 8 today. Lots of 8s. But typically on gold, I like to de-risk a half position around 5 to 10 points. But this should align with some sense of, technical analysis, right? Like pivots.
Key level, maybe.
Exactly. Like but for me, like as a scalper,
breaker.
Bill breaker, that's for NQ. But I mean, for a scalper, like it really comes down to these micro pivots. So like, hey, if I take a short here and we just bounced, right? This was my actual entry this morning, and it breaks this pivot, I should scale, right? Because this is what, larger participants in the market are doing, and if I take the short here, 48, and it drops down 18 points, 20 points at the low, that's $2,000. If you only took 5 micros, right? That's like $500.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's in 2 or 3, 6, 9, 10 minutes or so.
Exactly.
And looking at this, like kind of restructure what, now this is again, perspective of scalping, but restructure, your thought process when it comes to taking profit. Many times we look at, I don't know, we want this perfect whole number, or we want to, we're clip hunting, or we want.
Well, you got to know what strat you're trading, right? You're not.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
but
me, I'm different, right? I'm always holding for like that full TP, and right, like you can't do that with this. You have to be a little more disciplined and play the strat that you're trading, right?
No, 100%. And like this really helps as well with prop firms, because there are some firms that want you or allow you to trade without a consistency rule, but most firms do have a 20 or 30% consistency rule, right? So like I know that I can get the job done in 10 or 15 minutes rather than, holding and maybe over trading, overstaying my welcome, right? Jordan's really good at being disciplined, but I can't really say that for the majority of traders that are out there as of right now, right? Yeah, dude, that's one of the hardest things, right? Is sitting on hands.
It's taken me this long to get to where I'm at, like, like
100%.
It's hard.
But for you guys that are scalping, like look at this. This is that second trade again, green candle on 10-minute, right? So for me, this is extremely important, because what's going to happen is this. I think I did this. Where was it? The example, maybe Friday. Okay. I don't know. We can just look at today. But this, for example, we'll clear it out real quick. Let's say, hey, a trader chases the short. Why? Because it's breaking pivot. You see a really large red candle. This is what the market is showing you, right? And a novice trader is just going to blindly take a short right there, right? Why? Why are they going to take a short right there? Because of greed, right? Fear of missing out, etc. You guys have heard it all. But if you short the red, you're now, forfeiting your opportunity to trade a pullback, right? You're saying, hey, hopefully you're positioned appropriately, but you're saying, hey, I'm going to put myself through a pullback, right? It hasn't happened, but I'm going to take it anyway.
Sometimes it doesn't. And that's okay.
Yeah, most of the time it doesn't, right? Because what's going to happen? Hey, trader chases this breakout. It breaks out for what? 2 points. But then on the pullback at the high, that's 11 points, 12 points, right? Some of you guys trading, 1, even 2 minis, you're going to get liquidated, stopped out. Mm-hmm. So I really urge you to focus on these green candle pullbacks. It has to deal a lot with trading psychology as well. When the candle is red like this and it's breaking a pivot, your mind is, inherently going to associate that with, hey, this is bearish, this is short, this means it's going to go down, right? But in all honesty, this means someone else is making money and you're not a part of it. So when it pushes back up and it's green, you know, these shorts out here at the lows, of course, they're going to, you know, cover, stop out. But, you know, you want to focus on when sellers are fearful, right? When you get a green candle, right? And this doesn't represent it perfectly, but like so, you know, this is what factually, this is what that candle looked like today. That, you know, range traders are having a day. They're like tweezer bottom. They're predicting themselves. What, you know, that's when buyers are greedy and sellers are fearful of a reversal, right? That's when you need to act, because that's where I took the short right here, 38, shorted a green candle, 10-minute. I didn't sit through. I mean, you know, if I'm at 38, I sat through three points of risk. And you guys saw, I mean, this went 40 plus points. I got all out at what was the exit? 41 points, right? Now, of course, that's not one mini, but the equivalent to one mini is $4,100, you know, just trading these green candle pullbacks. So, but when you're scalping, again, you can take profit on these micro pivots. So like, you know, you can see on the 3-minute, this drops down, pops up a little bit. Let's say, hey, you're hyper scalping this 3-minute candle by candle method, right? But you take a short there and then it breaks pivot. I mean, that's 15 points, $1,500, 5 micros,
Yep.
$750. Like that's a lot of money. So respect that, please, because a lot of traders are going to sit there and hold and hope and, you know, try to be like their favorite streamer. And when in reality, it's all about taking consistent gains from the market and not over leveraging your finances, but also your emotions. But exits, right? So like, let's say, you know, you're scalping this, taking, you know, lower low pivots and blah, 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 but actually getting stopped out. So if you're day trading this, right, from that perspective, CBC told me to stay short from 9:20 until it flips long there at 11:20, right? So about 2 hours, where really it flips long at 11:30 because 10 minutes passes when it closes. But 2 hours, right, it's telling me to short. Now party's over, right? CBC flips bullish. But again, there's checks and balances when it comes to CBC. I'm not saying, hey, I'm only longing bullish or shorting bearish engulfing candles, right? Like I wish it was that simple, but there has to be a process. And when CBC flips bullish, I know, hey, remember that tip earlier in the session, right? Higher probability setup would align with the 3-minute EMAs, right? Meaning CBC bullish and 3-minute EMAs bullish, right? So if we look here, our longs really aren't confirmed until about 12:30, right? But what happens? The CBC flips bearish, right? These two don't match. This is why I refer to the 3-minute as your urgency time frame, because this is really what has been guiding price action this entire slow climb up on gold, right? And it's not the prettiest, right? But I mean, the EMAs are giving you that checks and balance that, you know, you can't solely rely on one strategy. And whether you guys take away from today, the listeners, you know, using CBC or EMAs or whatever strategy you're using, make sure, I mean, I wouldn't be jumping from one to the next, but make sure that if you are adding strategies into, you know, your trading style, make sure it complements one another, right? So I know that CBC and the 3-minute EMAs complement each other, right? You could also look at this from market structure. You know, I can see, hey, there's a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, right? So on and so forth. And this structure is creating higher highs as well. There's different perspectives that these, you know, all of these strategies rely on, but they should complement one another, right? I don't know if you guys trade with ICT or SMT or whatever you're using, but they're all very similar and will complement instead of saying, hey, one is better than the other, right? You can really look at the similarities between the, you know, many different strategies. But this doesn't just work on gold. I mean, you can use this. I mean, if you look at NQ today, it's not the best just because, you know, I will say CBC is not a great strategy within a range, right? I typically like to rely on my 30-minute orb for that. So if you look at today, first 30-minute candle low and high, you can see price pushes out of the 30 orb, bases, right? Why do we get a trend when price breaks and bases, not only on the pivot, but on orbs, right? These previous sellers right, pushed out of 859 when given the opportunity to minimize their loss or to cut their trades break even, they'll take it, which means these sellers turning into buyers, right? Think of it like a seesaw. There's your seesaw. You got buyers, sellers, right? This happens every day, every single moment of the day. Okay, buyers and sellers. So, right, so if the sellers, right, once given that opportunity, turn into buyers, right, the seesaw is imbalanced. So is price. The seesaw points up, and so does price, right? Price climbs. So these sellers turning into buyers adds to the imbalance, right? Two buyers on one side pushes price higher because sellers have a weak ask, right? Or a lack of one, because you're not seeing an actual lower high develop up here, right? You're seeing each high broken. This one does double top and it gives you a little scalp, right? But it's just a 10-minute EMA pullback. So that's what I would rely on. ES was a little bit different of a story today. Right, you can see where's 30 orb low, 30 orb high. You didn't get that base until much later in the day, right? But tame, I think, with the anticipation of FOMC. But going through some other CBC examples before I head out, right? I mean, I didn't trade Friday. What do we do Thursday? Okay. This is 1022, one more. Okay, so right here, this is how I looking at the markets each and every single morning, right? 9:30, just like everyone else. But 10-minute CBC flips. Again, this is an if this then that, kind of a strategy that I rely on. So if CBC is short, that means I should only be taking shorts, and I should be shorting when the candle is green, right? You can see on 10-minute right here, this is the candle open. When price pushes above the open, the candle is green, right? I've shown you guys that. These are prime entries for your short on a 10-minute chart perspective, right? I know a lot of traders are stuck on 5-minute is great, don't get me wrong, but I've just found myself taking those 5-minute trader stops on 10-minute using this exact kind of strategy. It's also lining up with a VWAP retest and 10-minute EMAs, which is clean. Okay, but you might be like, oh, Maple, but CBC flips long, right? That means I should only trade long. Where's the chart at? 1022. Oh, 1 second. I'm on different drawing sets. Okay, you might be like, oh, Maple, right? 10-minute CBC flipped long right there. That tells me that I can only trade long. But again, we have checks and balances, right? Look at your 3-minute chart right here. Are your 3-minute EMAs bearish there? They're not. Or are they bullish there? Excuse me. They're not, right? The 9 is below the 20, showing a bearish sentiment. This was a great risk reward for the short, where buyers were being very greedy, right? Overconfident here. And for that move, right, an EMA rejection, I mean, that's 21 points on ES. That's $1,000. Okay, same thing here, right? We'll look at the next flip. This is for a CBC flop, right? Because it is flipping, but it's flopping. This is a fake kind of signal. Again, here you can see, hey, CBC flips, but the 3-minute EMAs don't align, giving you a false signal, right? Telling you to trust your EMAs. Now, I want to highlight the CBC flip short, just so that we review both. Okay. So again, CBC flips, you can scalp it off of the EMA, of course, or wait for the next EMA interaction, which happened right here. Okay, lower low. Now, following this second flip, you can see EMA interaction. Look at that respect. I mean, this is free money. I mean, I hate to use that term, but I mean, look at how many opportunities are set there for you on the 3-minute 9 and 20 EMA, as well as your 10-minute CBC. Right, and each of those upper wicks align with those 3-minute EMAs, right? Showing you when the candle was green, giving you a higher probability pullback, a higher probability trade, and less stress. I mean, most of these trades, like, look at this. Like, I don't know, let's say you enter here, right? It pops up against you 7 points, 8 points on NQ, but then it breaks a new low of day for 38 points, right? Now, I don't know what your risk was, maybe 10, 20 points right there, but you got a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-2 risk reward that's also being shown with consistency, right? And then where's the reversal signal, right? We see an initial CBC flip, but again, I told you guys, make sure you study market structure. I can't teach it all in one session, but you know, a reversal under VWAP doesn't occur unless there's a higher low. So yes, you get that early CBC flip, but do your EMAs on 3-minute align with that? They don't, right? So let's look at the second flip. Oh, well, look, 10-minute CBC flips. Entry, 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 right? Entry, all the way to VWAP. And treat VWAP, like Jordy was talking about earlier, as you know, key level, take profit, stop out. You know, it really is depending upon what you're using it as or for.
It's perfect, Mapes. What a rundown.
Yeah, man. But
got any more questions in the chat from Mapes?
Yeah, any questions in the chat? Hopefully that made sense. I use this each and every single day. Today we got 45 points. First NQ short, 41 on the second, and only 20 on the third, right? Later entries means quicker profit taking.
Just to reiterate on why short green candles, why long red candles for Mapes is, again, you get those better entries, because generally when he's trading that CBC, you know, if CBC is bearish and there's a green candle forming, that's generally a green candle that's retesting the EMAs on the lower time frame and finding rejection, and that green candle will generally either turn red, or the next candle after it, that next 10-minute candle will be red, right? So he's just trying to follow the trend, but also be getting precise entries, right? Or else you're getting worse entries, your risk is bigger while you're still looking for the same reward, which, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Because I mean, like, you know, let's look at this example. Like, let's say, hey, you know, you're going to short like when the candle is red versus, hey, I'm going to short when the candle is green. I'll just use that candle close, for example, right? Where's your risk right here for that short, right? I mean, you shorted when the candle is red, right? Where's it at? You know, a trader might say, oh, the 3-minute 20 right there, that's 10 points already. Right? Or you're going to say the 10-minute 20 points. I mean, I think that's way too much, right? Yeah. Versus saying, hey, I have a logical risk. If price closes above this pivot, which it wicked above, but it didn't close above, right? Then I'll stop out. Also, this is going to get me much closer to my risk point, right?
Exactly. Another question here. Is this indicator available on Thinkorswim?
It is. I don't share it for Thinkorswim, but it is available on TradingView. You can type in CBC flip. It was made by, I mean, I created it, but it was, I guess, I don't know, coded or scripted by Asia Rue. That's the author on TradingView.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you don't have premium, you can use it on 5, maybe watch a 15. But I prefer the 10-minute. No, it's not for futures. It's for anything, everything. I mean,
yeah, you can
look at Tesla.
Yeah, you can do this on anything with price action.
100%. I mean, you can see. I mean,
you've been trading gold recently a lot, which I'd love to see.
Yeah, I mean, gold. I'm just trading what, you know, where the volume is, where there's some movement. Thankfully, I was trading gold today over ES and NQ. But like, look at this Tesla, right? CBC flips bullish. 3-minute EMAs cross, retest for calls, right? Almost a retest there.
Yep.
And you got continuation for a scalp. I mean, and look, those entries pushing up. Oh, let's just say a VWAP break. That's $2, right? That's $2 worth of delta. You can get, you know.
So those are all your entries.
$100 per contract.
Those are all your entries, potential entries there, right? When after that CBC flips, you're getting those pullbacks to the EMAs that are bullish. All those taps, right, can be entries looking for VWAP or whatever targets you guys might be looking at, intraday pivots. I know you use a lot of the Asia session and London session highs and lows, right, Mapes?
Yeah, no, I
I'm
do.
using those a ton. Those are great
Yeah,
targets as well,
100%.
guys.
Yeah, I think they're important. You know, it just shows me past forms of price, um, at least giving me scale levels or levels to base risk off of, you know, London orb especially.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's CVC. No, it's candle by candle method. By the way, for anybody that's
Yeah, candle by
wondering what
candle
that
method.
is,
I
candle
got a
by candle.
video on my channel. I mean, it's probably almost 2 years old now. I probably need to come out with a new one.
Yeah, you should.
But super simple strategy. You know, I'm not looking for tops or bottoms or to say, hey, I predicted where price was going to go. I'm solely looking for, you know, opportunities provided from the strategy and taking my piece of the chicken, right? Like I don't need from, you know, 31 to 120 to say, hey, I'm a good trader, right? Like really, I only need maybe 2 or 3 10-minute candles to make my day, right? Or to hit my account goal, which I urge a lot of you guys, the listeners, I urge a lot of you guys to try to, you know, reshape that, because there's no getting rich overnight, right? Yeah, there can be jokes or this or that, but it takes a long time and a lot of consistency to get to that point. And you're only going to achieve that through earning the right to size up and not just, you know, sizing up on something that feels right. You know, you have to have these consistent results shown time and time again.
Agreed. Yeah, and like you said, Mapes, everybody go back test this stuff. It's you can do it on TradingView, I'm pretty sure. You don't even have to download another software or anything. You can literally like back test a little bit. I mean, obviously you can just look back on the chart and do your own analysis, but it's always nice to actually back test, you know, and pick a time on the chart and not have the future price action to look at and actually be, you know, playing your strategy, seeing if it works, which you guys can do right on TradingView right there. I used to do it all the time. So
yeah, 100%. You know,
take advantage
and whatever
of it,
strategy
yeah.
you guys are trading, you know, dedicate an hour to it at least a day. You know, I'm sure if most of you, if you went on your settings on your phone and you looked at your screen time and how much time you're spending on certain apps that aren't constructive, right, you could surely, you know, equate some time into studying this and actually, you know, finding results in your trading. So,
Yep.
thank you guys for your time today, and looking forward to trading with you guys on FOMC Wednesday.
Mapes, you're the man. I appreciate your time. I know you're usually off the charts and enjoying your day by now. So appreciate you coming on, man, and just educating the audience because they love this. We always get questions in spaces, as you know. So it's nice to have you do the breakdown and on stream, of course, able to actually show everybody. So